everybody. We are here for round 11 out of 12. Hans Niemann basically won the match, by the way. The score is 6.5 to 3.5. So chess has spoken. Now we're just gonna see the next two matches. And what's up, guys? And yes, I am here by myself today. So hopefully you guys enjoy some commentary today. We're definitely going to be learning a lot from these grandmasters. And I will be trying my best today to be guessing the moves that they're playing. So let's see. Okay, so we have e4, e5 on board once again. So what we're gonna be basically doing today is guessing the moves. Hopefully, maybe it's gonna be another Roy Lopez or an Italian game. But Awonder has been doing very well with both the Italian game and the Roy Lopez, except the game yesterday in the morning. I mean, I think Hans kind of switched up things on him, and he just position just got crazy, to be honest. But yeah, Bortnik is not here today, guys. He had to catch a flight, so I will be doing the commentary by myself. So it's a Roy Lopez, the usual Roy Lopez, and more than likely we're going to be seeing the same line. Like we've seen this happen a lot. To be honest, with a6, bishop back knight f6. Okay, looks like there's a little glitch because it is showing that Hans played king f1. Okay, it's fixed. He castled, and then bishop e7 was played. So today I'm going to be trying to guess the moves of the players, guys. I'm going to try my best to guess each moves that Hans will play and guess each moves that Awonder will be playing. So will be a very fun match, and I'm sure Hans will be pressing for the win naturally. This position we've seen already in this match, so nothing new, to be honest, nothing new. Let me just pull up the Masters database, and we have c3. I think Hans played h4 yesterday. Not sure if we're gonna see some c3 moves with d5, but this is Marshall, and the Marshall is definitely too aggressive, so we're not gonna be seeing any Marshall. He's playing the exact same thing that he played yesterday with a4 and b4, and I'm sure Awonder did some preparation. He's playing the exact same line that he lost with yesterday, so we're gonna be seeing an improved version of what we saw. So, okay, today Hans decided to play d3, just playing it normally. I think he played c3 yesterday, but today he's just playing d3, which is just normal. Knight to d2, and usually a5. I think he played a5 yesterday as well, so he's definitely playing another line, but should still be a fun match. Both players are playing as quickly as they possibly can, just trying to get out of the opening stage of the game, not trying to burn too much time. Hopefully we see a very good long game today and not a beatdown again by Hans. But let's see. So, I mean, what are you guys expecting for this matchup? Like, are you guys expecting another beatdown? Do you think Awonder is gonna at least win one more game? Because we're now at round 11. Everything ends at round 12. So do you guys think Awonder is gonna win any game at all? Or do you guys think Hans will be winning any games at all? I want to hear what you guys think in the chat. All right, so c5 was played. Very theoretical. Roy Lopez has been playing. c3 was played. So, usually the idea of c3 is to play d4. Rook to b8 here is the theoretical move, followed by d4, just improving the position. And I'm assuming, okay, white should not be afraid of b4. because b3 because that is a free pawn. So pawn c3 was played, and Awonder is thinking. Okay, so rook to b8 was played. Now, yeah, I think you think Hans will win. I also have the feeling that Hans is going for the win as well, because he's also trying to increase his elo, and I think he's currently top 11 in the entire world, which is very good for Hans. Yeah, I wonder might still be on tilt. He might very well still be on tilt. But we already have a drawn position, guys. As you could see the evaluation bar, everything is completely drawn. And Hans decided to take on e5. Taking on e5 is the correct theoretical response. I wonder will definitely take. And then we see knight c4. So already what Hans is doing is he's applying as much pressure to the pawn on e5. Pawn to b3 is the theoretical move by black in this position. But the thing is, it's like usually what Hans does, I think Hans is doing this purposely now. It's like he plays that one inaccurate move. It's like it's not a mistake, it's definitely not a mistake. It's just a slight inaccuracy. And I think he's doing it to throw off Awonder off his prep. And once he does this, he's throwing off Awanda off of his prep, and then Awanda starts to mess up because he's not in his preparation. But let's see. I mean, Hans is definitely an Italian expert. I've seen him play the Italian game in other tournaments. I've seen him play the Roy Lopez in other tournaments as well. But Awanda is also an Italian expert. Maybe one could say Hans is just more of an expert than Awanda, because Hans is really strong and he's really a good positional player. I mean, I think he will try to. Now, Bortnik will not be joining us today, guys. He had to catch a flight on this exact time that we have the commentary, which is why you guys are only seeing my camera by itself. I'm basically running the commentary by myself today, so hopefully you guys enjoy the commentary. The main move in this position is b3, which it's an interesting move because it hits the bishop, it applies pressure to the knight, and Hans need to play knight takes a5 and then b takes a2 and then knight back to c4. So basically what happens is black gets the bishop here. The pawn on a2 becomes extremely weak. But after bishop to a2 applying pressure to the knight, queen to e2 is the move just to defend the knight. And eventually the plan is just to take the free pawn on a2, but it's not going to be as easy as it seems because black is basically sacrificing a pawn to get very good attack with the bishop here. They haven't reached this exact position in the match ever. This is a new position, but they have definitely reached the Roy Lopez at least a good amount of time, to be honest. Yeah, I'm checking the master database, and White has been White has been having very good results with these. I'm trying to see if Awanda or Hans has played any games, but I'm not really seeing any games. But Magnus has won some very nice games. Caruana has won some nice games. Karyaking has won some nice games. And I'm not necessarily seeing any win for black. So it's only two results that I'm seeing here. I'm only seeing wins with white and draw with black. So one could say Hans is only playing for two results in this position. So the moves in this position are b3, rook to d8, knight takes c4. You know, even pulling the knight back to c6 is a possible move here. Yeah, yeah. Hans is definitely trying to get his ratings to go through the roof. But let's see. I mean, guys playing for the win. I'm sure he's playing for the win. And he also said it in an, well, not in the interview, but after he won the game and he came on, he says, okay, with the black pieces, he tries to secure a draw, even though he did manage to get a win with the black pieces. But he says it feels as if he's the only one playing with white, he's the only one pressing. But let's see if that will change today. I mean, hopefully he does not get complacent and be like, hey, I already win the match. I could be careless and then it cost him some games. But we are seeing Awonder thinking. Yeah, I mean, let's see how Hans will do. I mean, I think Hans is doing very well. So b3 followed by knight a5 is on the board, guys. These are the moves that we already calculated. And then pawn takes a2, knight c4 is on the board. So technically Hans is ahead by a pawn. Well, he's not technically ahead by a pawn, but the pawn on a2, I think that pawn will die. The idea that we looked on was bishop goes to e6 to immediately attack the knight, which is what's on the board. And the main move in this position is queen e2 to protect the knight. Now, there is also pawn to b3, which it just protects the knight, and the plan is just to take the free pawn on the next move. But okay, let's see. Because in some cases, this could happen where black gives up the bishop here, but as you guys could see, the computer definitely does not like it. So after bishop to e6, Hans is now thinking about his next move. All right, guys, I do not have, let's see. Hey, I appreciate you, bro. Thanks a lot. But you're saying knight takes e4? When are you referring to knight takes e4? Because currently the pawn on e4 is hanging. I'm not gonna be able to have a conversation with Bortnik today, guys. So I will be interacting mainly with the chat. So I will be seeing all the positive comments and all the negative comments. Oh, okay. Knight takes e5 apparently is slightly worse for white. Slightly worse for white. I'm not 100% sure why. It's not knight to d7. That's a great question. It's also not rook to d8. Like the thing is, I'm not seeing what the best moves are in this position. But knight takes c5, it looks like a move, but the computer doesn't like it. As you can see, it dropped a bit to negative 0.5. Not sure what the move is in this particular position though, because any move that I'm trying to look on for black, they're basically saying that white is still better. So it's definitely an interesting move. But you guys know these grandmasters, they already have all the ideas in their head. By the way, guys, like what I'm seeing on my lead chess, I'm not sure if someone is able to assist me with this. It's like when I turn on my engine, I do not see the suggested moves under the bottom. So I only see the evaluation bar, but I do not see the suggested moves. So if there's any lead chess expert in the chat that is able to assist me, so that way I can tell you guys what's the move if knight takes e5. Because after knight takes e5 looks very natural, but okay, Hans didn't play knight takes e5. And I'm not sure why it's not the move, but we're still in theory with queen e2. Still, I haven't seen. Okay, I have seen black win one game, but the results that I'm seeing from this position is usually just drawn or white win. So the knight g4, yeah, knight g. Oh yeah, because there's some ideas where the knight is being pointing towards. So if knight e5, knight g4, yeah, that's a very nice move because it takes bishop takes e4, and black is just doing fine. There's also bishop b3 ideas. Yeah, this is nice. This is very nice. But anyways, queen e2 is now on board. And the main theoretical move that has been played 94% of the time is knight back to d7. Now, based on my chess understandings, the purpose of knight back to d7 is after rook takes a2, we're able to play knight b6 and just apply pressure to the pinned knight. And now we see this move, knight f takes e5, which is already crazy. Like the position is drawn, but I will definitely be very uncomfortable with a pin pointing towards my rook like this. And okay, f6 is not working. But yeah, guys, I need to fix this lead chess thing. Okay, knight b7 on board. So we're in a very theoretical position, guys. Like we're 19 moves in and we're still in theory here. There are still games in the Masters database. Rook takes a2 is the move, and we definitely don't want to give Hans a free pawn this early. But it's theory, so it's not like it's a pawn and he's just losing. Like it's a pawn, but Awonder has the bishop here. And you guys know that bishops are better than knights. So, and Hans could also have some light square weaknesses, as you guys could see. Because of his pawn on b2 and b3, his light squares are a bit weak. He does not have a light squared bishop. Awonder is the only one with the light squared bishop. So that's the reason why Hans is technically ahead by a pawn, but he's not winning. But we've seen Hans created a bunch of miracles. So should be something. Guys, I know that you guys are seeing my board moving a bit. I'm just trying to fix something for a second. Just give me a sec. I'm trying to see if I'm able to add like the best moves and so on. But I'm really not sure how to add it. Like there's but it's fine. We're just gonna have to guess the moves. Because I'm able to see the evaluation bar, but I'm not able to see like the suggested moves from the chess. Yeah, but that's the whole idea. After rook takes a6, knight to b6. So I'm still able to tell you guys what the best move is without looking on the suggested engine move because we're still in theory. But once we get out of theory, I'm not necessarily trying to find the best move arrow, bro. So I see what you're saying with the best move arrow, but it's not the best move arrow. It's basically when you're analyzing the position and you see like the top three moves. Okay, this is a move, this is a move, and then this is a move. I'm not able to see those. So that's what I would like to see. It's not necessarily the best move arrow that I'm trying to find. All right, let's go back. It's not here. Yeah, but rook takes a2 is like the only theoretical move here. It's played 100% of the time, so Hans is thinking about it, but I'm sure he will not play something different. But he has been surprising us. He has been showing us a lot of surprises, so maybe we're going to see something else here. But I'm not seeing any other logical move that can be played, which is not rook takes a2. He may play something else just to surprise Awonder, that could be something, but let's see. What is NNUE, bro? Mm. Oh, that is interesting. That is very interesting. That is very interesting. So because the match is won, the games may not be rated. No, I did not know about that. I definitely did not know about that. Yeah, bro, he definitely does that. Play some inaccurate moves. Bortnik is not here today, guys, because he had to catch a flight. So he definitely plays inaccurate moves. Not maybe he knows that it's inaccurate, but maybe he's like, hey, this is not in Awanda's file, and looks like it has been working. So that is something. Yeah, hands. That has been very famous in the chat. Hands back posture. It's crazy how he does it though. It's kind of like he sets his back to. I don't know how he does that. Like, but the thing is, he's been sitting in that position for like. Think about how long Hans has been sitting in that position, because think about the amount of hours that he spent in chess games in that position. And maybe when he's training, he's sitting in that position as well. Like as a chess player, you sit a lot. So when you're not playing chess, I mean, when he's not playing chess, I'm assuming he's doing a lot of running around. Yeah, Bortnik had to catch a flight, so he will not be joining us today. So I'll be the only one on the commentary. But rook takes a2 is what I'm expecting. I'm not seeing there's no other move that makes a lot of sense in this position. But just to show you guys the like how far in theory this could go, after rook takes a6, there's this knight b6 move, which applies more pressure to this knight. And then there's two ways in which white could continue here. So there's knight takes e5 and there's knight f d2. So we can definitely have a look on both of them. Now, after knight takes e5, um, white is now ahead by 2 pawns, which is it's a very risky scenario because being ahead by 2 pawn in an equal position means it's very easy for you to go wrong. For example, bishop to d6 is already a move here, and a5 is what I'm seeing. Pawn to a5, which immediately applies pressure to the knight. And then after pawn to a5, knight takes e4, knight takes e4, and black regains one of the pawns on h2, which white now plays king to h1. And in some cases, he's threatening to trap the bishop with pawn to g3. And then we see bishop back to f4. Bishop takes f4 has been played in some games. Queen takes f4, but white is still ahead by a pawn. That's the thing. So white is still ahead by a pawn, slightly uncomfortable though due to this pin. And rook to a4 just gets out of the pin. And then after rook to a4, I mean, black has very good activity for being down by the pawn. So the position is still completely equal here. So this is one line that we may see, guys. So Hans is still thinking about it, but this is one line that we may see. Now another line, instead of knight takes. Yeah, I'm sure the documentary brought a lot of you guys here. I've seen the documentary as well. Very interesting. Now, after this knight takes e5 variation, this is one thing that you guys may see. Another thing that you may see is knight f to d2. So this is just a less risky version where you do not choose to take the pawn on e5 because, okay, if you take the pawn on e5, then black will simply regain the pawn on h2. So instead, you just pull the knight back to d2, still ahead by a pawn, but you're just protecting the knight on d2. And in this position, the main move is to play rook f to d8, just trying to apply as much pressure to the position. And then this rook will always be an issue. Yeah, that's the thing, bro. Like, that's the reason why I say white is ahead by a pawn, but it's not a clean pawn because his rook definitely becomes a bit passive. And then the main theoretical move, in this position is rook to a3. And then after the trades here, knight takes, a5. Now this a5 move, I'm seeing a lot. Oh, well, actually, it's black to play. So black play a5. And, then I'm seeing moves with h3, moves with pulling the rook back to a1. And, okay, I've seen a game where black won. And then I've seen a game where it ends in a draw. So apparently, Awonder could be the one pushing for a win in these types of position. I think Hans just likes to suffer. I mean, he hasn't been getting the best positions. Like yesterday's is out of it. Like he got such a great position yesterday, but especially in that game where he managed to find the draw, he was suffering the entire game. He was losing with -11. But he defended well, and Awonder could not find all the best continuation. Yeah, rook a3 is very unnatural. And there is a backward pawn on b2, so that makes a lot of sense. So for the persons who need to understand more about sacrificing material in order to gain tempo or gain time, or sacrificing material in order to gain initiative, this may be one of those scenarios. Oh, look at that. Looks like someone watches my video. It's crazy. Like, we're actually on Hans Niemann YouTube channel, guys, but it looks like some persons in the chat watch my YouTube videos. But what is Hans still thinking about though? He's still thinking in this position. He hasn't played rook takes a2 as yet. I don't know what this guy's thinking about. But there's nothing else. And rook takes a2 seems like you don't play this line if you're not gonna play rook takes a2. Unless there's this idea with knight e3, pawn c4, knight d5. Now, okay, maybe this is one of the moments where Hans will play an unnatural move, because we have been seeing some unnatural moves from Hans. The whole idea, I'm assuming, is to play c4 followed by knight d4, but it definitely creates some weaknesses because this pawn on c3 is doing a good role defending the d4 and the b4 square. So if we have to play knight e3 followed by pawn c4, in the future a knight can always get to the b4 or the d4 square. So Most likely, we're not going to be seeing that. So knight d7, rook a2. Actually, what is on board? Knight d7. Okay, rook takes a2 on board, guys. He finally played rook takes a2. That's a great question, bro. I mean, I can calculate good amount of moves, whether it's forcing or not. But if it is forcing, then I can calculate a lot more moves. I think I can calculate, it all depends on the position as well. I've seen myself calculate a lot. Oh wait, look at that, guys. We're on the live board. Knight takes c5 was played. So we will see the line where he sacrificed on. But we already looked on this line, right, guys? With pawn to a5, knight takes c4, bishop takes h2, and then bishop back to f4. So we've seen this line. And rook a4 to protect the knight. Not sure why he wouldn't pull the rook back to a1 though, just to keep the rooks connected, but this is fine. But the live move is this position. Yeah, knight takes c4. We've seen this position already, guys. We're still in some games. I'm still seeing some games. All the games that I'm seeing from this position has been ended in a draw. So maybe this game will end in a draw. Who knows? Maybe Awonder is gonna press. Usually, okay, let me tell you guys how positions like these usually go. Whenever you see someone sacrifice a pawn, they definitely get some compensation for it. They definitely get more active position. For example, after bishop f4, after this position, rook to d8, in terms of who is better, yeah, rook a4 is an insane move to find, but these guys are 2700, and hasn't been surprising us any at all in this position. Now, just to go back to the live, I just want to ensure that we're following the game and we're not deviating too much. There will be a point in this stream, guys, where we will all be trying to guess the moves for both sides. Right now, we're not necessarily guessing the moves because the moves are obvious. After king h1, g3 is the threat. But so bishop to f4 takes, and rook a4, rook f to d8. So this is the position that I wanted to talk to you guys about. It's very important that you guys know what compensation is. It's like, okay, if you look on this position, the normal person will just look on the position and be like, okay, I mean, white is winning, white has the extra pawn. But let me see if I can give you guys a little exercise. Maybe I already said it. I'm sure I already said it. But if you did not hear, if I said it, what's the compensation, assuming you know what compensation means? What does black have in return for being down by a pawn in this position? So in this position right here, the position is equal even though white is ahead by a pawn. And if the position is equal even though white is ahead by a pawn, it means that black has something in return for being down by that pawn. So is there anyone that could tell me, what does black get in return for being down by the pawn? Open position with the bishop. There's more. That is correct, but you can definitely tell me more, bro. Bishop has more scope. That is correct, but there is more. Rooks control the open files. Pawn on, definitely. Definitely. Open files for the rook. Bishop has more scope. King safety. Definitely. The person who says activity, I don't like to go with those answers, bro. Like, yeah, you have to explain it better. Better rooks, checkable king. Definitely. So what you guys are seeing in the chat makes everything that you guys are seeing in the chat makes a lot of sense. So what the chat is basically saying is better pieces and activity. So black's pieces are definitely better. I mean, honestly, guys, to be honest with you, the computer is saying that the position is wrong, which is why Hans is a crazy guy, you know, because I personally wouldn't choose this position if I was playing with the white pieces. Yes, you're ahead by a pawn. Okay, maybe knight to b6. Oh, okay, knight b6 with ideas of playing pawn c4 and knight d5 is crazy. And I think if Hans managed to get this, that would be good. I do not know about that gambit, bro. So I think every single black piece is better than every single white piece in this position. It would currently be white's turn to play. And after a move like knight b6, as you guys could see, the evaluation bar is already dropping. So black is doing perfectly fine here. All right, let's see if there's any move on board. Okay, so this position has happened. Bishop back to f4 was played, and Hans is still thinking. Nah, I'm not on the live board. Like whenever I'm on the live board, guys, you know, just to let you guys know, if I'm on the live board, it shows proper green, if that makes sense. Whenever I deviate from the live board, that's kind of like, what color is it? This is like some gray type of color. So this is me deviating from the live board, rook to a4. This is the position, rook to d8. This is the position that and just to show you guys how hard this position is to play, because again, guys, we're now out of theory, which means I am not able to see what the best moves are because there's something wrong with my lichess apparently. But who can guess in this position? It's going to be so hard for Hans to play this position because my guess was the plan is to go knight b6 on c4, knight d5. The moment I play knight d6, the evaluation bar already dropped. So there is a particular move in this position that white could play that keeps the game equal. Who is able to guess that move? Because Hans will have to be able to find it. And okay, and let me just answer the question again. Let me formally answer the person who is asking what is the compensation. The compensation is there are a bunch of negatives in white's position. There are a bunch of positives in black's position. The only positive that is in white's position is the extra pawn. So in terms of better pieces, black's rooks are more active than white's rook. A bishop is better than a knight. Black's queen is placed much better than white's queen. So someone suggested knight a3. Knight a3 is completely wrong, bro. As you can see, now the position dropped -3. So anonymous person, knight a3 is not correct. Are there any other takers? This is the type of position that Hans is gonna have to deal with. What move will Hans have to find in this position? And by the way, let me just double check. We are in this position. Rook f to d8 has not yet been played. There's also h5, which is a move, which is weird. So someone suggested knight e3. Knight e3. Let's see. Okay, let's say rook to f to d8 was played and knight e3. Yes. g3, then king e2. How does knight e3 blunders the exchange, bro? Knight e3 actually keeps the evaluation bar unequal. So knight e3 is not too bad. Maybe the idea of knight e3. Okay, guys, I really want to play c4 followed by knight d5. But c4 leaves the d4 square unprotected. Strong players don't go back. Well, sometimes you have to go back to move forward, bro. So this is the current live position. I mean, bishop to b3 doesn't trap the rook, though. Like, The rook definitely has squares, bro. I think Awanda will find rook f to d8, but I mean, just pulling the rook back to, yo, this is crazy because now Awanda will have full control over the d1 square. There's some ideas of knight to d5, and if takes, rook takes, queen to e1 is a checkmate. But we're gonna see exactly how hands do it, guys. So Awanda is still thinking. Oh yeah, yeah. If knight a3, then bishop to b3 traps the rook. That is correct. Wonder why you're saying pause. What is pausable about what the guy, what Biggie Cheese just asked? What is pausable about that? I think. Well, I'm not sure. I want to say Awanda is still in prep. Okay, there's queen e3. Let's say rook f to d8, queen e3. Queen e3 is also perfectly playable. Yeah, queen e3, rook takes e3, bishop takes, rook takes e4. I guess this is what you want. It's an endgame. Rook takes. This is dead. This position would definitely be a dead drawn, which is why we're seeing that most of these positions are ending in draws. So again, this is the position that we are in. I am only seeing two moves. Rook f to d8, pawn to h5. Pawn to h5 makes absolutely no sense. Appreciate that, bro. Appreciate that, bro. I mean, that's the thing. Like, you guys also need to understand that you don't really get much when you play with the black pieces. So not because you got some compensation means you're gonna win. Maybe the compensation is you managed to secure the draw. That's probably the compensation because you're playing with the black pieces. What else are you expecting if you're black? E5? When are you suggesting E5, bro? Like after rook to D8, pawn to E5? Appreciate the compliment, nosebird. Means a lot. Means a lot. I I I appreciate all the negative and positive comments. You know, the negative comments also helps. But there hasn't been any negative comments in the chat since the stream already started. So that's a good sign. Um, what are you guys predicting this game? Let's not be biased. Like, look on the actual position. I do not think it's possible for anyone to win this game. There's I'm from Jamaica, bro, and I'm currently in Jamaica right now. So it's super early in Jamaica. This game will be ending in a draw. I think the game will be ending in a draw. It's just impossible for anybody to blunder. Like, what could go wrong this game? Maybe black losing the weak A pawn, but okay, white will also lose the B2 pawn. So you said after rook to d8, e5 does work. Okay, e5 is decent. E5 is decent. Oh shoot, maybe the idea of E5 is to play knight D6, bro. That's kind of crazy. Let's just say I'm tired, by the way, guys. Can you guys tell if I'm tired or not? Because I think I have energy. I'm not like, because it's 3:45 a.m. in Jamaica right now. But I think the position is just drawn. Pawn to E5 is interesting though. And we know that Hans is a magician, so anything could happen. And the whole idea with E5 and then to play knight D6 makes so much sense. Okay, bishop D5 does not work, bro. Well, the idea is to play knight D6. We're not gonna immediately play knight D6 and hang the rook. But that's definitely a good find because I didn't see that. Appreciate that, bro. So maybe there's some ideas of playing knight B6 instead of knight D6. But personally, I do not think the knight is doing anything on the D6 square. So let's see. Back to the live game. Oh my God, we missed something, guys. Back to the live game. So rook to A4. After rook to A4 was played, but he did not play rook f to D8. He plays this move, rook to B3. Oh my Lord. It started, guys. Awonder is doing Awonder things. I think he's trying to double up the rooks on the B file and then take this. But let's try to guess the move, guys. What move do you think is the correct move here? Once you guys send the suggestion in the chat, I'll put it on the board and you will be able to see if your move works or not. I'm not even sure. This is a weird position. I think I would be able to handle myself in both positions, to be honest, but I personally would feel uncomfortable being down by a pawn. But rook to b3, rook to d8 would have made slightly much more sense. But we haven't seen rook to b8, we see rook to b3. The whole purpose of rook to b3 is to play rook to b8, grab the knight, win back the pawn. So we're seeing some suggestions in the chat. Remember, guys, drop your suggestions in the chat. And once you drop your suggestion in the chat, I will be putting it on the board. So let's see what we're seeing here. We're seeing rook to a3. Rook to a3 is not a good move, bro. That did not work. The bar just drops. That doesn't work. Another suggestion that we're seeing is queen to e2. Queen is already on e2. Queen to d2 also does not work. I want you guys to know, to see how hard this position is to play. What else are we seeing? We're seeing knight to b6. Knight to b6? Okay, knight b6 does work. Knight b6 is fine. It also cuts this off. Someone says e5. E5 also makes sense as well. So e5 or knight b6 makes some sense. Rook to d1 also makes sense because it puts the rook on the file. Okay, rook to d1 is probably the best move. Rook to b1 is probably the best move. So currently Jack says he's the smartest guy in the chat. I mean, rook to b1 is decent, but the other suggestion is fine. But someone was asking me a question saying, why doesn't that move work? What move were you suggesting? Okay, let's get back to the live game. Hans played king to g1, which is also fine. King g1 makes some sense. I mean, I guess he's just pulling his king closer to the center because it's just very likely that this will go in an endgame and he needs to activate his king. Let's assume Oh my God, rook f to b8 doesn't even work here. Aha. Another question for you guys. I thought rook f to b8 was Awander's plan. Probably it's the plan. But apparently it doesn't work. Because right now, the computer is saying if you play rook f to d8, white has a plus 1.3 advantage. My question to you is why? Why? So it's Awander's turn to play. This is the live board, by the way, guys. This is the live board. I mean, Awonder is definitely a really good player. You don't get to 2700 in chess by chance. So after rook to d8, we're seeing rook to d1. That's wrong, bro. It's not rook to d1. That is incorrect. Rook to d1 is not the move. Any other suggestion? What should white play in this position that maintains a plus 1.3 advantage? Knight b6 cuts off the attack. Very good. I don't think it's the move though, but it's definitely a move. If we play knight b6, we still have a plus 1.1 advantage. Are there any other moves though? Queen c2. Queen c2 loses the game on the spot, bro. Lock in. Can't play queen c2. Oh, you're saying follow up with queen c2. Who's the guy that is suggesting queen c2? Knight b4 has to be now with queen c2 to follow up. Also, ensure that you're seeing the coordinates right, bro. But Awonder is still thinking. Bortnik is not here, bro. He's on a flight. Rook to b8, pawn to e5. Nah, that's not the move. Pawn to e5 is decent, but it's not the move. So far, knight to b6 after rook to b8 is the best suggestion that we got. Let's see. Rook to d8, queen to h5, bro. Okay, queen to h5 is decent. Nah, but we're not playing queen to h5. Queen to d3 is also decent, but the position is still drawish. All right, so let's see what we'll see here. So maybe he's not gonna play rook to b8. But that's the thing. Why would you play rook to b3 if the plan is not to play rook to b8? Queen to d1, no? No, bro. We're not playing queen to d1. It's decent though, but it's the evaluation bar goes just a bit under. I wouldn't call it a random king move. I think it was a decent king move. I mean, who is comfortable with their king on h1? If Awonder plays rook to b1, oh, whoopsies. What did I do? Okay. If Awonder plays rook to b1, then Hans get the advantage. But let's see. I'll be right back, guys. I'll be right back. Right back. All right, guys, we're back. Well, let's see what we have. So my water is finished. I'm drinking, I don't remember what this is called. I think it's pineapple lychee. What have I missed? I wonder still thinking. But what do you guys think is the best line is for black? I don't know what the best line is, bro. For the person who is saying, tell us what the best line is. Maybe you can pull it up on Lichess and it will tell you what the best line is. But I'm not looking on it with the suggested best lines. I could click on the thing that says, yeah, rook to d8 is the best move here. But I mean, it's very natural that rook to d8 is the move, which means rook to b3 was just wasting time. Awonder is now really using up his time, though. That queen e3? Queen e3 after which move? Rook to d8 or rook to b8? Appreciate that, bro. Appreciate all the compliments. I think Awonder slightly noticed that he made a slight mistake, which is why he's thinking here. So you're basically saying if rook to b8 is not good here because of the back rank issues. Rook to b8 is not losing, by the way. I don't think it's 15 games. I think it's 12 games. It's not 15 games, bro. It's 12. And today, I think today ends the match. Because after this game, there's going to be another game in the afternoon. So today ends the match. But let's see how this position could continue. Let's see. So rook to d8, knight to e3. With some ideas of moves like g6 and g3, and then the queen goes back, and then boom. White takes this pawn, black takes this pawn. Still a drawn position, though. Still just a drawn position. Back to the live game. So the move that black needs to find in this position is rook to d8. That's the move that black needs to find. That's the best move. Why does queen c2 loses? After what move? Rook to b8? It loses because the knight is the knight is one of the only defender of the b2 pawn. So all black needs to do is to eliminate the knight, take on b2, and now you're getting checkmated on f2. Now you can't move the queen, because if you move the queen, you're mated. So that's why it loses, bro. But Awonder is still thinking. So I'm assuming he's contemplating which one of the rooks should I move. Okay, we have rook d8 on the board, guys. We have rook to d8 on the board. Position is equal. White is ahead by a pawn. So all is needed from here is a slight mistake by Awonder. Now, the move knight e3, as you guys saw, it's the best move. Did he play knight e3? No, he's still thinking. This is not a sandwich, guys. Does this look like a sandwich? This is what I'm having. It's not a sandwich. Hopefully you know what that is. But the whole idea of playing knight e3 is to target this pawn. I mean, he's also trying to just put his knight on better squares. But the queen is also targeting this pawn. It's not an apple, bro. Yeah, there's probably some ideas of bishop takes knight followed by rook d2, which will be threatening f2. So that's another reason why knight e3 is important. But let's see. Both players are doing a lot of thinking. Hans seems very relaxed, not doing his posture thing. But I think okay, black also okay. I don't think black wants to take on c4 immediately, apparently. So maybe he just needs to wait, play moves like h6. That's what the computer is saying. Well, let's see what move Hans will play here. But knight e3 is definitely to prevent rook d2. That has to be the idea. And not only do we prevent rook to d2, it also allows us to attack the a2 pawn. But let's see what the moves are after this. Yeah, I think Hans will find knight e3. It's just a good score for the knight. It covers all the forward moves that the bishop could move to on our half of the board. I do eat the mango skin. Yes, bro. I'm not sure if you guys find it weird, but something we do in Jamaica, and it's not every mango skin. I do not eat every mango skin. It's just the Julie mangoes. And I'm not sure if you guys know what the Julie mango is, but the skin is super tasty. Queen e3 is also a move. Now, Queen e3 is also a very nice move because we're trying to trade the queens off the board. But naturally, black will not allow this. I don't think black will trade the queens. Let's see. Okay, it's actually the best move to trade the queens because queen e3 also attacks c5. So now there's actually two moves. I think there's two moves that Hans is calculating in this position. He's calculating knight e3 or queen e3. Maybe he's like, okay, if I play queen e3 takes, rook takes, and I head by a pawn, the computer is suggesting g5 to prevent f4. And maybe he's like, how on earth am I going to gain an advantage here? How am I going to possibly win this game? But I don't think he'll win this game. He's been doing a lot of miracles though, so maybe he can, but this game seems very dry, to be honest. Back to the live game. He's still thinking about his move. But the moves that we're probably going to be seeing is knight e3 or queen e3. So those are the moves that you guys should calculate now. Well, what did you say that doesn't take b2? I mean, we're not gonna take with the knight though. That's the thing. And after takes, we're able to take here. And white is actually better in this position. Yeah, white is actually way better in this. Well, not way better, like +1, but at GM level, a +1 advantage is a huge advantage. Yeah, that's definitely an idea, bro. Like, we definitely want to play knight e3 with the idea of playing knight d5. E5 is also a move. Yeah, e5 is a move. Maybe knight b6, not knight d6 because it hangs the rook, but e5 is a move. And someone says queen g3. Wait, what? Oh, g3. Yeah, g3 is also possible. This is not a critical position, guys. We're not necessarily in a critical position. So Hans is just thinking about what decision to make. Like, he's able to play any move, and it's not going to be a losing move. So it's not a critical position. It just has to do with the plan that he's going to choose here. I also think it will be a solid draw. But in terms of who is playing for the win and then who is going to have to defend the draw, that's not yet. We're not yet seeing that as yet. But Hans is the one who is ahead by the pawn. My FIDE rating is 2000 and something. In 2060 or something like that. 60 something. So rook d1. Yeah. Like there's just so many moves here. There's not a lot of ways in which white could go wrong. Knight e3 definitely targets the a6 pawn. What's the actual move if knight e3? G6, because if queen takes a3, there's rook takes b2, and it's weird. Queen f1, rook d2. Position is still drawn, by the way. Knight d1 hits the rook, rook a2. And eventually, it seems as if the pawn on a5 is lost. But if the pawn on a5 would not have been lost, then it would have been a very nice pass pawn, but that's not the case. So back to the live board. Hans is still thinking with 33 minutes on the clock. It's not a critical position, but the reason why he's taking so much time is because there's a lot of different moves. And every single moves comes with a different plan. E5 is a different plan. Knight E3 is a different. Okay, maybe they're slightly similar. Slightly similar. Maybe E5 is a completely whole different plan though. But each move is gonna be a different plan. So he has to ensure that he's sure of what plan he wants to take. Both playing at 99.6 accuracy. I mean, the guys are GMs, bro. No mistakes happening just yet. Says queen d1. Why would you suggest queen d1, bro? Lock in. Comes the queen. Maybe he doesn't mean queen d1 right now. Maybe he is referring to queen d1 after rook to b8 or something. Let's give him the benefit of the doubt. What's black gonna do after rook d1? Here? I mean, that's interesting. Rook d1 is definitely a move. Uh, that's a good question, because if he takes, the back rank is weak. But I'm assuming he's just gonna push a pawn or something. Yeah, like just g6 is fine. It's drawn, bro. Because bishop takes, rook takes b2 is always the threat. It's drawn. Appreciate you, bro. Means a lot. But yeah, the back rank is kind of weak. And we've seen a move from Hans. He chose rook to a. We didn't even consider rook to a1 though. That's the thing. That's crazy. But rook to a1 is definitely a move, because we have to think about swinging the rooks back in the game. Wait, isn't there bishop takes? What's the idea? Come on, Hans, lock in, bro. What's the idea, Mr. Niemann? Rook a1 takes. What's the idea? I just gave him back the pawn for no reason. Oh, just queen takes c5. That's the idea. So he takes the pawn and protect this pawn, which is still drawn. There's no rook to d2 as yet, by the way. The back rank is weak, so maybe he has to push one of those pawns like g6. And look at that. Hans has left the board. Usually Hans don't leave the board. Yeah, the plan is to play queen c5. Took me a while to find that. Okay, honestly speaking, I think Awonder wants to just get this match over with. Like, losing a match is not a good feeling, bro. Like, losing a game is okay, but when you lose a match, it's kind of like, yo, I mean, guy's just better than me, you know? It's not a good feeling. I'm sure if Awanda gets a chance to just draw this, he'll just draw it. I mean, he already loses the match, so maybe he wants to get back some rating points. Let's see. But someone in the chat says once the match is over, rating is not a factor. You're saying rook to d1 where? Here? Oh, there's perpetual with queen d1, really? Nah, what are you saying? Which queen c1, bro? Maybe it's not here. Maybe it's not here. I'm assuming it's after some trades. I mean, there's no real backstory. If you know Hans, he often organized matches with very strong players. I think it's one way to keep himself sharp as well. And it's also another way to entertain the people. And it's also another way to let chess speak for itself. Yeah, bro, I'm chilling with my mango. In fact, I have two mangoes. This one is a bit riper though. So this one I'm just eating the skin and everything. This one I'm gonna cut it. So when I'm ready to eat the next one, I'm gonna cut it. All right, Awanda is now thinking. Hans destroyed Anish. Didn't Anish win that match though? I think Anish won the match. But I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. Position is just drawn. All right, let's see. Hey, bro. So, mhm.
Hi, have a great time.
You're the one. How you go? How you go?
Job 3-6 and get one.
Oh, Jaja. Bro.
So you're not asleep there. Sleep right
Mm-hmm.
there. They fully up.
Mm-hmm. And said that. May I have fun with my chat, so.
Yeah. Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Twitch?
Not Twitch, YouTube. It's like it's early in Jamaica, but whenever I stream and I speak with the chat at the same time, then I'm not tired. But if I'm just streaming and I'm just looking on the board and I'm only talking about chess and I'm not talking to the chat, that's when I'll get tired. But for now, I'm not tired. All right, back to this. What is this guy typing in the chat? What does that even mean, bro? That B word that you just typed. Bomb, clat. What does that mean? All right, so we've seen the trade. Bishop takes. So maybe we're gonna see rook takes, queen takes. That has to be the only reason why he do it. But I'm sure he knows it's drawn. And for the person who says queen c1, maybe they meant queen c8. I mean, they are probably expensive to organize. Also, the loser of this match has to pay 10K to charity, so that's another thing. But Awonder played h6 in this position. It's done by a pawn, by the way, guys, but very simple plan here. Rook to d2 coming. Position is completely drawn, by the way. Completely drawn. Why are you guys typing those weird things in the chat? What does that one mean? Lucas Fox. What does that has to do with chess? Now, I don't think the winner gets any money. I think the winner donates money to charity. But this game will definitely end in a draw, guys. Like, I mean, the guys are grandmasters, to be honest. So one extra pawn, it's not like Hans has, even in terms of activity right now, I think black rooks are more active than white's rook. A good way to tell if your rooks are doing anything is you don't want to have your rooks pointing towards your own pawns. And as you guys could see, Hans' rooks are pointing towards his own pawns. Awander's rooks, one of them is on the second, another one is on the open file. And he has a very active queen. So Awonder is chilling here. Kyle Murphy, I appreciate you, bro. It's not necessarily an event. It's like it's a match, you know? Like anybody could organize a match. Like I can always hit up someone and said, yo, bro, let's have a match. The winner of the match gets this, and we're going to be playing this amount of games. Will Hans be getting in the next candidates? I mean, statistically, bro, it's tricky. It's very tricky. As he got knocked out, I think, round 1 or round 2, maybe round 2, I think. You don't get knocked out in round 2 and then make candidate that easily. But let's see. Appreciate you, bro. Rook to d1 is the move here. Which one of the rooks? I'm assuming the A rook, right? Yeah. Oh, by the way, guys, have you downloaded Endgame.ai? Because we're planning on hosting some very cool events on Endgame.ai. So if you haven't downloaded Endgame.ai, ensure to download Endgame.ai. Very cool. Hans is a leading expert in the Italian game. Probably true. I mean, the guy's like what, number 12 in the world? Is he number 12 or number 11 now? Rookie? Nah, he's not gonna. Hans is not gonna play rookie 3. Come on, bro. This is how drawn the position is. He could play anything. Maybe certain moves are slightly worse than some. But okay, rook to d1 is definitely a move. Is Hans better than Magnus? Statistically, he's not. They also play a lot of games, but that's just statistical. But rook d1, rook d1, rook d1, and I'm not even sure what black is gonna play here. But I wonder, Ant is gonna have to slowly play c4, queen d4, pawn c5, just to make some progress, and then maybe try to trade the rooks off the board and try to win with the queen. I think this is gonna be a very long game. Okay, he plays queen to e3. I just wants to draw. Bro, the monkey grape. What are you talking about? How did I get my CM title? So there's different ways to get chess titles. So someone said if since Hans already won the match, it's not gonna be rated anymore. I'm not sure. But if he keeps on winning, then yes, he will be increasing his elo. But back to the title. There's in the Caribbean, there's a tournament that is called subzonals. And then you have zonals and so on. So when you participate in those tournaments, there's also the Olympiad. You can also get your CM from the Olympiad as well. Basically, it's a tournament that has a bunch of strong players, and you have to score at least 4.5 out of 9. After you score 4.5 out of 9, you have to get your FIDE title to over 2,000, and then you'll get CM. If you score at least 6 out of 9, you get FM. But in order for you to wear that FM, your FIDE rating has to be over 2100. Right now, okay, rook to b5 was played. He's just targeting the pawn. It's wrong, guys. It's wrong. But right now, I'm trying to get my FIDE ratings over 2100. If I get my FIDE ratings over 2100, then I'll become a FM. I mean, I wouldn't say it's pure intuition because a normal person looking on this position will think white is better because white has the extra pawn. But you also need to understand that almost all rook endgames are drawn. For example, Awanda just needs to get both rooks on the c file. If he gets both rook on the c file, then Hans may have to have one rook on e3, one rook on e3, which is already kind of passive. A lot of person is saying Hans is farming to get top 10. I mean, I don't know why you use the word farming, bro. Why don't you say he's grinding? Like, what's the difference? Farming, grinding. When you use the word farming, it sounds sneaking, you know? You're like, okay, like this is not the right way to do it. The guy's grinding, bro. You think it's easy to beat a 2700 guy 3 times? Guy's grinding, bro. Trying to get that FM for sure, bro. Definitely trying to get that FM. Okay, now he plays rook to. This is gonna be a draw. It's probably gonna be a draw. I mean, I'm not even sure if it's only for the Caribbean, bro. Maybe they do it in some other parts of the world, but that's how I got my CM title. I've never touched 2200 ever in my life. I've also never touched 2100 because if I touch 2100, then I will become FIDE master because based on the strong tournament that I told you about, I managed to score 6 out of 9. And to score 6 out of 9 in that tournament is not easy. So what I have right now is basically an FM elect. So I basically get the FM, but I cannot wear the title. I can't call myself FM, and FIDE is not going to give me the FM until I get to 2100. What's my chess story? How long have I been playing chess? That's a good question. I don't want to talk too much about myself on Hans' stream. But the position is drawn. I'm 25. I've been playing chess since I was 11 years old. I was just chilling in class, and this random guy who appears to be my coach right now, he just comes in the classroom and he's like, "Hey, I'm going to be you guys' chess coach, you know?" And since then, I was like, "Yo, chess." And I remember thinking, I was in grade 5, and I was like, if I could get good at chess, then that will make me smart because chess is for smart people. And then from that day, I just start to watch a bunch of chess videos. Like all the OG chess creators that you know, I used to download their videos because I didn't have internet at my house. So what I would do is I would go to an internet cafe and I would pay $100. $100 is probably about 70 cents, to give you guys some context. And that would give me 1 hour. So I would get a tablet, download as many chess videos as I can, and then I go home, I watch those videos as many times as I can, and then I delete them because I didn't have enough space. And then I delete them, go back to the cafe, download more videos. And that was the only thing I was doing over and over and over until I got good at chess. I also had a coach who was coaching us and all of that stuff. You thought Akeem was a GM. I mean, sometimes I think I'm a GM too, bro. You don't have to delete that thought out of your head. It's currently Hans' turn to play, so he's not necessarily losing a free pawn. This is drawn though, guys. It's just drawn. Appreciate you, bro. Chess is super hard. Chess is hard, bro. So I try my best to make it as simple as I possibly can. Appreciate that, bro. So Awonder is currently attacking the pawn on e4. Again, the position is it's just so drawn. It's crazy. It's crazy how drawn it is. It's like dead drawn. I'm expecting something like rook a4, rook e1. No, rook e1 is weird. You don't want to be defending the pawns too passively. But I'm sure if Hans offer a draw, Awonder is gonna accept it. If Awonder offer a draw, then I don't know. Sometimes when you want to simplify chess for people, you just make things up. That's crazy, bro. Just learn some more about chess. Chess is okay. I don't know what to say about chess. Like I wanted to say chess is not as complex, but it can be very complex. So let's not tell any lies on stream. But it's not super complex. I'm sure there's a sentence. It's kind of simple, but complex at the same time. I have met Ans in person, but we don't really know each other as like, I've met him in person, but we don't really know each other like that. I'm not sure. Like the question that you asked me about from a psychological perspective, I'm not sure. He, Hans, lock in, bro. Why would you pull your rook? What move did Hans just play? Oh, he didn't play. He's still thinking. I thought he blundered the pawn, but he's still thinking. So rook to e1, he's still thinking. He just needs to find a move to protect this pawn. Very simple position. Rook a4, rook f4, rook e3, pawn c. Anything that doesn't loses the pawn is fine. Are you going to become a GM? Are you asking me that question? The thing is, bro, I think Hans is just trying to entertain us at this point because the match is finished. And since the match is finished, I thought they would have just stopped playing, but I'm assuming they're going to play all 12 games. Bortnik is on the plane today, bro. That's where Bortnik is. Yeah, the manga is crazy, bro. It's crazy. I have one more. Mm, I don't know. I don't really know about much about that beef. I watched the documentary though, so that's all I know. I'm doing great, bro. Bortnik is not here today. He's on a plane. Who is my biggest rival in the chess world? Well, right now, Witty Alien and I has created a rivalry against each other. But in terms of over the board chess, I'm not sure. Why do you ask if I'm from Egypt, bro? What gave you that hint? What makes you feel that I'm from Egypt? Chess is a simple game played by complex simpletons. Those are like some Big words for me. How do I get to commentate for Hans? I'm not even sure. I mean, I'm not even sure, bro, to be honest. I'm not from America, bro. I'm from Jamaica, and I'm currently in Jamaica. Oh, because mangoes growing, come, bro. Mangoes grow everywhere. Where does mangoes not grow? It's mango. It grows everywhere. I mean, okay, and he probably want to win. Everybody wants to win. I also want to be a GM, but is that possible in that position? I do not think it's possible for Hans to win this. I think it's just drawn. Mangoes don't grow in Ireland. Why don't they grow in Ireland? Is it illegal to grow them? Because if they don't grow in Ireland, then that's an opportunity right there, bro. Just get some mango seeds and just grow them. That's crazy. I didn't know that. So apparently mangoes don't grow when it's cold. I didn't know that. It's mangoes though. Just plant them, bro. Just get the seeds and just plant them. Simple. So this is the second one that I'm on. This is what it looks like. I cut it. I know I'm just gonna eat everything, including the skin. All right, so we have a move by Awonder, rook to c5. Very natural move. Look at this, by the way, guys. Look at this. Guy played rook to e8. He puts his rook back on a4. Awonder played rook to c5. So he's now just really pressing the pawns. If Hans wants to win this, it's gonna have to be a very long, hard fought game. But let's see. I'm here for it. Like, I'm not gonna be tired if I'm speaking with the chat. I'm fine. The largest producer of manga is India. That's interesting. Someone says that's not how agriculture works. How does agriculture work? You want to grow the manga, you get the manga seed, or you get the thing that grows the manga. You just put it in the soil and it grows. Simple. Okay, now we see rook to d3. So Hans is currently trying to activate his rooks. Rook to d6 is the idea, I'm assuming, because we are in the end game, and in the end game we need to attack pawns. So I'm assuming Awanda will play. Oh, never mind. Awanda will not play that move. That is a bad move. Okay, maybe rook c6, also bad. What will he play then? Because the plan is to play, well, if rook to d6, there's rook takes c3. And then after rook takes, I'm assuming we can always try to gang up on the pawn. Who knows? Let's try to see what the best move for black here is. Okay, that makes so much sense. Just rook e5. It's crazy. Like when the engine suggests moves, it just makes rook e5. How is he even gonna defend this pawn? That's a nice move. Rook e5, and I'm not seeing how he's gonna defend the pawn. There's a check king up. Maybe go here, but there's probably f6. Rook e5 is on the board. I've played against General Zod so many times. So many times. I think we have the score with me and General Zod is in the hundreds. So like maybe he won like 163 games and I win like 120. This one is not fully ripe. It's kind of, in Jamaica, we call it turn. It's turn. It's almost ripe, but not fully ripe. This is drawn, guys. Like, personally, I'm not seeing how Hans is gonna defend this pawn. Why don't you grow apples in Jamaica? I don't grow any form of fruits, but I'm sure apples grows here. Said Martin, you've typed that same comment like 3 times, bro. What do you even mean by that? This is what could happen if rook d6, which is still drawn, by the way. Because rook d6 taking on a5 still guards the pawn. It's kind of crazy. What's the best move? King to f1. Look at that. It's just drawn. Hans is just being Hans here. I'm not an IM, bro. I'm a CM. Or maybe if you're trying to ask if I have IM strength, then that's a completely different question. Yo, he did play King f1. Yo, that's crazy. You see this, guys? Hans is a. I mean, it's also not hard. I mean, you're in the end game. You need to ensure that you activate your king in the end game. King activity is crucial in the end game. That's how I usually say it. He took the pawn. So I'm assuming takes, king e2. Dead drawn, by the way. Maybe f4, but it's drawn. It's just drawn, to be honest. Hans also has 14 minutes on the clock. But in this position, the time situation isn't really super important. If Hans keeps the rooks on the board, then he's pressing for a win. And that would be very fun to see Hans try to do the whole Magnus thing, but he didn't. He traded the rooks. Yeah. Check. Why did he check? Oh. Oh. So he checks the king, So that way he pushed his king a bit closer to the corner. Then he improved his king. Again, the position is still drawn because, okay, maybe check king up. In here, it's drawn. Why are they playing this on? I think, let's see. Let's see what will happen. Hans is just trying to test his strength here. I mean, Magnus would win any position, to be honest. Not to be biased or anything, bro, but Hans will not win this game. If Hans win this game, I'm gonna do 60 push-ups back to back. Boom, boom, boom. 60. And he's been winning a lot of games, but Awonder is at 2700 GM, and it's a completely drawn rook ending. I wouldn't call that a weakness. I mean, I wouldn't really call it, maybe it's a weakness, but you kind of have a point. If somebody says you're not as strong as you are, you're gonna want to prove yourself. The guy's human, and he has been proving himself, but he's human. So while trying to prove himself, he will lose games. You're not gonna win every single game that you play. What are you talking about, Mr. Miller 74? Seats available where? I mean, Ants King is closer to the center and everything, but it's a rook endgame, bro. Like, especially GMs, rook ending is kind of what they study mostly. I think they study rook endings mostly. Like, they study endgame a lot, but rook endgames are going to happen so often. So they have to ensure that they're continuously studying rook endgame. That's crazy. I need to talk to my editor about that. That is crazy, bro. That's crazy. I think it's the second time now he's doing that, by the way. It's funny you say that because I'm going to have to check it. No, I'm going to have to check it. It's crazy. He also pulled up with the timestamp. It's crazy. Need to talk to my editor about that, man. What the heck? Are you serious? No. I mean, the manga is it's bossing. It's nice. I don't know. Maybe he just saves them for the comments, I guess, because if a lot of person is commenting, I think it's good for the video. But that's kind of embarrassing. I don't want to be farting on camera. That's crazy. This position is dead drawn. Nobody can win. If somebody win this game, I'll personally do 60 push-ups back to back. All right, king to g6 on board, guys, which is the best move. Like, king safety is crucial in the end game, and Awonder is just trying to ensure that he improves his king. You're being very weird, bro. All right, guys, that's it. Probably it was a cheer noise. The thing is, here's the thing. Knowing me, it was probably not a cheer noise. That's the thing. Knowing me. But I'm gonna check it. I'm gonna check it. It's crazy. All right, guys, my mangoes are finished. I'm gonna quickly wash my hands and I'll be back in like a few seconds. He checks the king though. There's another move on board, which is check. And I'm assuming Awanda is just gonna play pawn to f6. Can I eat one more? Richard, lock in, bro. Focus on the match. You want to watch me eat mangoes, bro? Calm down. f6 on the board. Can we donate mangoes to you somehow? Why do you want to donate mangoes to me, bro? I mean, you can. Respect. This am I? Look at this, guys. This is fritters. Fritters on what is? Sardine? Zine? How much you give me? I mean that. I'm gonna test out those fritters now. The game is gonna end in a draw unless Hans blunder in time pressure. I don't eat a lot, by the way, guys. I'm just eating to keep myself active on the stream, so that way I don't get tired. Because it's 4:54 a.m. in Jamaica now, almost 5 a.m. But I didn't make it. My roommate made it. Respect. So yeah, now we're eating fritters with sugar. Does anybody in the chat know what are fritters? Or sugar fritters? A Jamaican thing. It's a struggle meal. It's not protein, bro. Trust me. Maybe there's protein in the sardine, but not the fritters. Our king to e3 was played. Very natural move. Again, we're in the end game. What do we do in the end game? We activate the king. Now, Raheem is not my roommate. I'm not eating donut. I'm not eating donut. I'm eating fritters. A fritters is flour. You mix the flour. No, you get the flour, you put water on the flour, and then you mix it. After you mix it, you put oil in the pot, you put sugar in the flour, and then you put it in the pot. And then it turns out like this. And then you eat it. I mean, it's drawn, guys. Like, I tell you guys, it's gonna be it has to be a draw. Has to be a draw. This cannot be healthy. It is not healthy, guys. I'm only doing this because I'm streaming. I did not cook this. I would never cook this. My friend cooked it. And since he cooked it, why not taste it? This is very unhealthy and I wouldn't recommend that you try it, but it tastes very good. It's not super unhealthy. Like the sardine has protein. Okay, rook to a2 was played. Rook's on the 7th is in heaven. Very natural move. Maybe he wants to start rolling his pass pawn up the board. Yeah, I think Hans C pawn is stronger than Awander's A pawn. Hans king is more active than Awander's king. So let's see. But Awonder also has a candidate pawn on h5. Nobody knows what a candidate pawn is, but it's fine. In Europe, we call it diabetes. That's crazy. This is not cooked mango, bro. It's true. Like, you know, you put sugar in flour. It's definitely a diabetes receipt. But hey, what can I say? All of you guys talking about diabetes, none of you guys can't do more push-ups than me. E5 was played. Oh, shoot. Okay, guys, the position is still drawn, but hear me out. Hear me out. What if, and this is not no what if, this might happen because the pawn is pinned. E6 can become a pass pawn. How many push-ups? How many push-ups can you do? Tell me how many push-ups can you do? And let's see. Because I'm sure nobody in the chat can do more push-ups than me. 100%. 100%. "67 push-ups, bro. That's soft." Well, it's not really soft, but I can do that. I can do 67 push-ups. Come on, guys, don't. 60-7 is decent. 60-7 is decent. I can do at least. I think I've done 80 push-ups already. I've never done 100 push-ups consecutively, but that's one of my goals. If Hans win this game, I'm doing 60 push-ups back to back. But e6 is a good try because he pushes the pawn. This is pinned. He can always try to push it to e6. Hmm? I'm sneaking at the room. And then at the drop over the check the drop over the right, like the top drop and the one where they are so slowly pull it and then they take you. Okay. Eight push-ups, bro. You have to lock in. Eight push-ups is nothing. I actually like this e6. Wait, did he push the pawn? Oh, pawn to e6 on the board, guys. Hans is just pushing his luck. He's just pushing his luck. I don't think I know how to do one arm push up. Maybe I can do it. Maybe it's the technique. I'm not sure. I've never really tried to do it. But this is actually such a scary position. All of a sudden, it's drawn, by the way, guys. But let's be honest. Just look on the position. Hans has two pass pawns. If Hans Niemann win this game, if Hans win this game, then it's I don't know. I don't know. If he wins this game, then I don't. F5, that makes a lot of sense. He also has 10 minutes on the clock. Like plank press and all of those things, bro. Like I go to the gym, so those things are simple stuff. I don't lift super heavy though. So the purpose of F5 is to play King F6 followed by King E7. If Hans ever moves his king, then there's Rook takes F2. If the pawn goes to E7, there's King F7. So I think it's drawn. It looks scary, but it's drawn, bro. Has been surprising me the whole time watching this. He's been surprising me. Oh fudge! Oh, I thought Rookie Six was the person who just said this. That was nice, grand minor. But there is King to E8, which means the game is still drawn. But that's crazy because now ants can start rolling this pawn up the board. Apparently, black is actually doing a bit better here. This is too scary. Now, I want you guys to understand something about chess. What Hans is doing is what most of you guys need to do if you want to be good at chess. You have to do this. And basically, and it's kind of like Magnus has mastered it. You need to always play for wins. Even if the position is drawn, you learn more from playing for the win and then losing the game instead of just being a Anishigiri. They will play one more game later today, bro. They will be playing one more game. If the pawn ever comes to e7, then there's king here. So there's no tricks. Nah. Hey guys, relax. Just relax. I didn't shoot anybody. I'm just saying. It's just the first person that I could have think about. Anish was trying to play for a win versus Sindarov in that last game. It just didn't happen. But let's be honest. If someone says, if you have to draw, who will it be? There's 10 GMs in a room. One of them is guaranteed to draw their game. Who will you choose? That's why I said that. It's very scary, but I don't think it's possible for Awanda to mess this up. But as you guys could see, it's one of those games. Look at this. You could play one move and it just goes to +8. It's still not as simple. But I think Awanda is gonna play. Oh, wait. After King F6, there's check, King over takes. If this happens, then it's drawn. It's drawn, guys. Like, let's be real. It's drawn. Why do you want to know how much money is being paid, bro? What else do you want? You want me to send it to you as well? Sardines are a bit too salty, to be honest. Show us your bank statement and your security number. Awanda is not getting paid. In fact, Awanda will have to pay some random person $10,000. Not some random person, some charity. He's gonna have to pay $10,000 to charity. Because I'm hungry, bro. What kind of question is that? Why do people keep eating? Why do people play chess? Okay, rook A1 was played, guys. Still drawn. That's the threat. I am. I will be participating in a chess tournament in the Cayman Islands next month. That's a great question, bro. That's actually a great question. Do I believe people should be eating 3 times per day? My answer is actually no. Now, it's funny you ask about this because I do stuff where I go period without I go periods without eating more than one meal for the day. And I'm usually way more productive on those days where I only eat one meal. So I just wake up, work. Once the sun is set, I eat, and then I just don't eat anything else. I'm very productive when I do that. But sometimes I eat a lot, which is not good, but I'm in shape. Yeah, I think it's called intermittent fasting. I do practice fasting, bro. Some very small differences, very, very small differences. Usually after the game, Hans, I think yesterday after the game, when he beat Awanda, he went straight to Chipotle to eat food. King F6 was played. E7 is bad for white. So King D5 is fine. King D5, check, king up, takes, and white wins the game. That's it for my food. Let me put this food down and lock in. I'll be right back, guys. All right, let's go. We're back. All right, what's the position? King F6, pawn C4. Still completely drawn. All right, what's happening, guys? I'm not eating anymore. What is there to do? This game is completely drawn. But Hans is trying to win, and it's. Let's see how easy it is to make a mistake here. Rook to c1, just getting the rook behind the pawn is fine. Checking the king is fine. Hans just played c4, which means he's sacrificing this pawn, which is crazy. Why did he sacrifice the pawn? Oh, never mind. It's not a sacrifice. Okay, it's on the board, guys. This is on the board. King takes pawn, rook takes pawn is on the board. The threat is the check. That's the threat. So maybe just king back to f6 is fine. Drawn. I'm sure nobody refused a GM title. If you hear somewhere that says someone refused a GM title, they're lying. Nobody refused any GM title. They probably tried to get it and they didn't get the title. Maybe the GM title refused them. I'm sure nobody's gonna say, "Hey, I understand that I'm a GM, but I don't want the title." That doesn't make any sense. I don't see what about this is unpleasant for white. I also don't see what about this. Okay, here's what's gonna happen, guys. King g6, rook here. Oh, whoopsies. That would be crazy. So king g6, maybe rook here, king here, rook here, drawn. Awonder is about to make a move. Is mango better than papaya? In my opinion. In my opinion, I think so, yes. And papaya is alright, but come on, bro. Talking about mangoes. He was about to play, but then he changed his mind. A mango is definitely the OG fruit. I think it's or orange. Maybe orange, to be honest. Because mango is too sweet. And orange is also sweet, but mango is very sweet. But in terms of the OG go-to fruit, it's probably banana. Or apple. Apple. It's apple. I don't know, to be honest. Personally don't like pineapple. It's too strong. Like it takes too much effort to eat a pineapple. But what would I want to play here? King back to g6, I'm expecting. I mean, yeah, but it's you have to talk about the effort, bro. Like pineapple is decent, but the effort to eat a pineapple is it takes too long. Takes too long. I've ate dragon fruits for the first time maybe 2 weeks ago. It's decent. It doesn't really taste. It doesn't have a taste. Rook a7. That makes a lot of sense. Getting the rook behind the pass pawn. That's an idea. Check. King c5, king b6, and start rolling the pawns up the board. Yeah, that's the word I was looking for, bro. It's the acid. It's crazy. Like maybe not all pineapples are like this, but I have to do things with my like whenever I'm eating pineapple. I don't want to be doing this. I've ate jackfruits, bro, easily. I'm from Jamaica, so I definitely know what jackfruits are. A lot of persons in the chat may not know what a jackfruit is, but I definitely do know. And it does smell really good. I'm not being unfair to pineapple, bro. Everybody would say the same thing. It's like, what if you just got home from work? There's a pineapple on the counter. There's a banana. There's an apple. There's a mango. The pineapple would be last to be eaten because you have to get yourself in the mind frame to eat a pineapple. I've also had guava, bro. That is in Jamaica as well. Yeah, strawberry, bro. Strawberries, it's okay, but how long have you been playing chess, and do you have plans to become titled? I've been playing chess since I was 11 years old, and by the time I was 15 years old, I was one of the youngest national masters in Jamaica. I don't know what Shrimoya is, bro. Avocado is decent. I don't. Okay, it's probably a fruit. Hans played king to e3. Makes a lot of sense. I actually was expecting king to c5, but I'm assuming he doesn't want to leave the pawns hanging. So he just puts the king on e3. But guess what we're going to see now? We're going to see rook to c1, king to d4, rook to d1, king to e3, handshake. Nah, bro. Grapes are not mid. Grapes are nice. I like grapes. I think they say somebody, I don't know who said it, but they say if it has a seed, it's a fruit. Do not quote me on that. I'm a chess player. But that's what I've heard. So you think I'm from Africa? Why does everybody think I'm from Africa? I okay, maybe I'm black, but that aside, this doesn't sound African. Like if I was African, I would be saying things like ah, and oh, that's how the Africans speak. They, ah, and I'm not from America, bro. I'm from Jamaica. Yeah, the Gukesh versus Sindar of match, guys. That is gonna be so interesting. And I'm not trying to, I mean, I like Gukesh and everything, you know? I like Gukesh, but I'm just saying, bro. You see, that's what I was talking about, like tomato. Tomato has seeds. And because tomato has seeds, it's a fruit, right? And I understand why people will say it's a vegetable. I don't mind classifying tomato as a vegetable. You know, it's a cultural thing. You eat some vegetable, you're gonna put tomato in it. But if we're trying to be nerds about it, then maybe tomato is a fruit. Okay, king to g5, still no blunders. It's just a regular endgame, guys. It's so drawn, it's crazy. It's just drawn. Nothing crazy happening. I can't speak Jamaican, bro. Like speaking Jamaican is I speak Jamaican like maybe 75% of the time. I don't speak like this. Like how you guys are hearing me speaking. Okay, Hans played f4. Finally a pawn move. Doesn't do much. The position is still drawn. I mean, the guys are both 2700 grandmasters. There's not much happening. Oh, shoot. Look at that. Oh my God. I think I think Awanda is about to make a mistake, guys. 'Cause who wouldn't play King G? Is there an obvious reason why King G6 is bad? That's a slight mistake, but let's see. Let's see. Onto F4 was played. And is currently trying to give Awanda a chance to make a mistake. So let's see if it will happen. Okay, King H5. He's not making any mistake. It's drawn, guys. Like the position is drawn. Now, which is why we're having random conversations in the chat. Do I think in yo, that's such a good question. Do I think in English or Jamaican? Actually, sometimes when I'm playing long games, I do it in Jamaican. Like instead of being like, okay, I'm gonna play pawn to e5, move the rook to e2. I'm like, all right, so I'm gonna put the pawn this or move this over this. But it's I kind of shy to speak Jamaican. It's weird. I don't just speak Jamaican. When someone says speak Jamaican, it's weird. I think I'm shy to do that. That's what I said, bro. That's what I said. Once it has fruits, once it has seeds, it's a fruit. That's what I've heard, but I'm not 100% sure. But since you confirmed it, then it's true. Can you teach us some words in Jamaica? Sure. What words would you like to know? Hello. How do people say hello in Jamaica? Yeah, speaking your language when someone tells you it's kind of cringe. You know, it makes me feel weird. Now, we don't have other languages, but it's like broken Creole. No, it's broken English. So it's still English, but we say, for example, let me teach you guys something. You guys already know this, but what's going on? How do you say what's going on in Jamaican language? By the way, guys, Hans has less than a minute on the clock. Still hasn't made a mistake. He just attacks the pawn. Whoa, look at that. I wonder is why is this good? We're actually going in table base now. Why is it okay for him to sack the pawn? Let's see. So takes, check, in here, rook here. Okay, makes sense. Makes sense. And if here, no, check, it's drawn. It's just drawn, to be honest. It's drawn, guys. Like, game is drawn. Appreciate you, Benz or Baines Buff. Appreciate you, bro. Yeah, Hans is burning a lot of time off the clock, but it's just a drawn position. What happened? I think did he play? He played c5. So Hans played c5, didn't take the pawn. He's pressing hard for a win. Like, check was played. Nobody's gonna lose this game. But I think Hans is trying to let Awanda prove that the game is drawn. They both know that it's drawn, but because he's won so many games, he's probably like, okay, since you said it's drawn, prove it. He does have time left on the clock. He has 2 minutes, 10 seconds left on the clock. Not sure what you're seeing. Why does Hans look like 30? Bro, chess does stuff to you, bro. I know he's just gonna take the pawn. On push, just get the rook behind the pawn. Very, very simple draw. King here. Whoopsie. That's not drawn. So there's still technique. Technique is still required here. Somebody says every chess game takes 1 day out of your lifespan. That's crazy, bro. You couldn't even set like 1 hour or 1 minute. You know that person's out here is playing 100,000 games. I've played over 150,000 games online alone. Can I rap? Of course I can rap, bro. You want me to drop something right here? What is my job? I'm a chess content creator. and a chess coach. That's what I do. What's my biggest hobby outside of chess? Fishing. I like fishing. Instead of saying Lil Akeem, it would have been best to say something like Lil Keem. I was the third, bro. I was once the third highest rated player in my country, but the last tournament I played, I lost like 34 elo in one tournament. And the reason why I lost 34 elo was I was 5 points away from becoming a FIDE master. And all I needed to do was win a game. And I didn't win that game, I drew. And then I got mad and then I got nervous and then I just kept on losing. It's probably the worst tournament I've played in like 5, 6 years. It's crazy. Like every time before you hit like a certain milestone in chess, it just goes down. But usually it comes back up if you stay locked in. I don't surf. What do we catch in Jamaica? I don't really know the fish's name, bro. Like I like to fish, but I don't know it that well where I know the different names of the fishes and all of that stuff. Stockfish. Mm. Well, it's hard to become a grandmaster. Period. It's not easy to be a GM, bro. I like the Scotch game a lot. I also really like the Italian, but I play the Scotch game mostly. All right, rook to d1 check. Okay, maybe what is he gonna do? Give a few checks to the king. King e5, check again, king d6, check again, king c7, then take. Still drawn. Takes, 2 pawns versus one, still drawn. Because even if this pawn manages to roll up the board, we should be able to just keep the rook behind it until we're able to sack. I haven't been up all night, bro. I woke up. I think the stream started at 3 a.m. So I woke up at about 2:30. I've tried other games. I know how to play drafts. Some persons call it checkers, but I don't think it's checkers because I think drafts is the one where you can jump, 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 and you can promote to a crown. And then when you promote to a crown, it moves like very far up the board. I can beat anybody at draft. Anybody. That's cool, bro. Jamaica is nice. Is the jerk chicken good here? I mean, you'd have to ask the tourists that. Like, jerk chicken is just normal to me. Like, it just tastes like jerk chicken. But maybe if you come to Jamaica, maybe because you haven't had a lot of jerk chicken, or maybe you haven't had good jerk chickens, and maybe you'd be like, yo, this is bussin', but it just tastes like regular jerk chicken, to be honest. Am I into gaming? Nah, I'm not into gaming. I only play chess. Like, I don't play FIFA, Call of Duty, none of those stuff. If you want to be good at chess, I mean, there's a lot of persons says they like gaming. Sindarov says he plays a lot of games. I'm not gonna say if you want to be good at chess, you only have to play chess. That would be lies. But I don't know. I've just only been playing chess. The thing with Hans is Hans has time. Someone says Awanda just wants the two draws. Looks like they're playing a bit fast now. Well, not really. They kind of Hans kind of has to play fast. Trying to see if there's any world where anybody could make a mistake. Like this pawn is dead. Check. That's all Awanda needs to do. Well, not really. Not really. Um Tricky. Okay, he finally took back the pawn. Okay, pass pawns must be pushed. Obviously, he's gonna check the king. Once the king move, he's gonna. Oh my! There's just so many ways how black could go wrong here. He's definitely not going wrong though because he's a 2700 grandmaster. What's my favorite chess time format? I don't know what pub is, bro. I'm not sure what my favorite time format is. It depends on my mood. Sometimes I'm just addicted to bullet. Sometimes I play a lot of blitz. Sometimes I like playing rapid, but rapid is too stressful. Rapid is just very stressful. As you guys could see, I mean, right after this stream, I'm gonna check that timestamp on my last video because that would be crazy. If I was to play Hans and it was 12 games, 60 plus 30. Statistically, I do not think I would get half points. It's just drawn, guys. The game is just drawn. But I don't know, maybe Hans thinks Awanda is nervous. You know what would be so funny? If Hans loses on time. I don't think it's gonna be possible though, because he's very experienced. He's not gonna lose on time. But it would be very funny if he does. Theoretically, maybe he could organize 40 games. I don't think I don't know. Maybe they wouldn't allow it. Hans now has less than a minute. Okay, maybe Hans is just using this game for training, you know? Especially if the game is not rated, he's using it for training. Yeah, maybe they should agree to a draw, but sometimes you have to prove that it's drawn. If I was playing this position with any color, if I was playing with black and I was playing a low rated player, I would try to win. Hans played rook to g7. Interesting. What will I want to do? Maybe start rolling this pawn up the board. Maybe this one. You see, All of a sudden, Awonder is now ahead in material. Hans needs to be careful. I tried to accept all my friend requests on chess.com, but it's so hard. Damn, really? He did lose on time. That's interesting. I don't know what pub is, bro. So stop asking me if I like pub. I don't know what that is. I think he didn't push the pawn. Okay, not because this was hanging, but I guess check. And okay, once the rook stays behind the pawn, yeah, black is just chilling, to be honest. So he decided to defend this pawn first. Maybe he's gonna push it then. Okay, check. And time is not running. I think Awanda is trying to put some pressure on the clock. I'm not gonna lie, this would be so funny if Hans lose on time. Okay, now the pawn starts to roll. This was a very nice move, a4. Because if king takes, rook takes, black wins the game. Okay, see? Now Hans has to be careful. Now he has to be careful. He can't take this pawn. What's the best move? He puts the rook back. What's this? Can I speak Russian? Of course, bro. I know what babushka is. You get 2600 ratings, bro. You have to abuse tactics. And I use the word abuse, not solve tactics. You have to abuse them. Like you just do so much tactics. You're tired. You're still doing tactics. You do tactics throughout the entire night. You just have to abuse doing tactics. All right, check. If takes, this wins the game. That would be very funny. So that also loses. That loses. That draws. That draws. I do, bro. I do. King c5 was played. I mean, honestly, rook check. This was a very accurate game, to be honest. Like, even though it's 64 moves, they played it really, really accurately. There was no point where someone made a blunder and then the other person didn't punish it. Like, it was just drawn the whole time. But the table base is still not sure. Not all the time. It depends on the tournament that I'm invited to. But if you guys want to invite me to a tournament, especially some Blitz tournaments, like if there's some Blitz tournament in any country in the world and you want me to come, just invite me and I'll come. Position is drawn, but it's honestly it's a bit complex for me. Takes is also drawn. Is it true that a lot of Jamaicans smoke the reefer? It is true, bro. I don't think I have a favorite food. When I was young, whenever people ask me what my favorite food is, I always say porridge or fry ripe plantain, but it's I don't think it's actually my favorite food. My mom used to just cook it a lot. Am I willing to relocate to USA? Why do I have to be in the US to be in the Endgame offices? We're seeing a lot of checks on the board. This is probably where the handshakes is gonna come, but takes king up, rook here. Guys, this position is drawn. But if I'm playing with the black pieces, I'm winning this. Hands down. Hands down. I think Hans got a bit too ambitious. But it's good for his development. Would you say openings or tactics are better to improve ratings below 1,000? Are they quite equal? They are not equal any at all. You guys heard what is happening outside? I bet you guys don't hear that where you from. You hear that sound? I bet none of you guys hear that where you're from. But as I was saying, for example, if I was to ask a grandmaster, like if I was to ask a grandmaster, what should I do to get better at chess? He would have tell me, do not study openings because you're too weak to understand openings. So don't be studying openings if you're below 2,000. As I said, bro, you need to abuse tactics. Oh, okay, maybe you guys can't hear, but there are cocks outside. We call them cocks in Jamaica. Or I don't know if there's a difference between a chicken and a cock. But the cocks are the one where they fight them. So those ones, they can put them in cages and they fight them. They let them fight against each other. Maybe I can show you guys actually. If I see one of them, I'll show you guys. It's drawn, guys. It's drawn. It is just drawn. Pigs. Okay, finally it's on the table base. Roosters. Yeah, or roosters. They call them in Jamaica. They're called cocks, but we don't say roosters here. That's sounds something that you know Americans would say. And we don't call them chick fight. We call them cockfight. Are we seeing a handshake? They're playing very fast. Are we seeing a handshake? Nah. There was no real point in this game where someone had a real advantage. It was just drawn. This was just one of those games where you can both tell that both of these guys are just grandmasters. Happens though. It's drawn, bro. I don't think becoming an IM is impossible for me. But like when I think about it, it's like, okay, why do I want to be an IM, you know? It would be cool, but the amount of effort that it takes, plus I already work so much. Think about it. I woke up 2 a.m. for this stream. It's now 6 a.m. and I have to post videos every day. So I'm gonna have to record my YouTube video for today, post that YouTube video today, and I'm gonna have to have that video ready in the next 6 hours, hopefully. Let's see. Yeah, the position is just drawn. It's actually just drawn. It's funny how Hans is the one who is down by the pawn, but it's still drawn. Maybe Awanda is gonna still try to win the game, but it's drawn. I'm not sure what time the next game starts, but it's not too late from now. And maybe this is where we're gonna start seeing a bunch of checks. The games are federated. What time do I go to bed to wake up 2 a.m.? I don't even remember. It wasn't early though. Like I'm gonna get some sleep though. It's it's the job that I have is I could be quite flexible unless I have to teach a student. Then I'm just gonna sleep. Okay, now Hans is trying to trick the guy. Look at that. He's trying to trick the guy. He wants to play rook c6. Can he sack the rook? Oh, he sacked the rook. Look at that. He sacked the rook. King takes, push the pawn. Hans is gonna have to take, and it's drawn. It was very happy speaking to you guys, by the way. Was very happy speaking to you guys. It's like usually when I'm doing these streams, I get tired sometimes, but I wasn't tired any at all today. Like right after the stream ends, then I'm gonna be tired because I have nobody to talk to. It was really cool talking to you guys, and you guys have been very interactive in the chat, so that's very cool. Oh, the game is drawn, by the way. They're resetting the board. The game is drawn, guys. All right, guys, we have a draw. So yeah, he had to sack his rook. It was definitely a great game. I don't think you guys are gonna be seeing me on here again soon, so I'm gonna be saying bye to everybody who says bye. Bye. Fref. Peace, bro. That's it for the stream. I'm sure you guys are able to see the score on the chat. And oh, look at that. You were able to stay throughout the stream because of me. That's crazy, bro. I appreciate that. Oh, by the way, yeah, we're ending the stream. If I could have shown you guys one of the roosters, I'd show you, but let's see. All right, guys, that was it for today's stream. I really hope that you guys enjoyed the stream. I really hope that you guys enjoyed the commentary. I am going to be getting some sleep now. I'm also going to be checking that YouTube video that the guy says at 13 something, because that's kind of crazy. But yeah, guys, this is Akeem signing out, and I'll see you guys again soon. Peace.